Welcome, everybody. We're at the Access Agile Festival in October 2021, and I am so excited to be in this session today. Like, it was an absolute honor and privilege to be asked to host this one. So yeah, sorry, I'm a bit overwhelmed with my excitement here. So before we get into the introductions, I have to calm myself a little bit. There is the usual code of conduct. We do not accept any form of harassment. It's not acceptable. If you see or hear of any harassment, or if you are being harassed, please go to festival or find and let us know if there's any problems, and we'll try and sort it out as quickly as possible. Okay, so I met this lovely lady, Andrea Pratt, just weeks ago, but I feel like she's my soul on another sister, already. And she and her daughter, the youngest speaker in this amazing festival, are here today. So Andrea and Victoria are here today to tell us about education with Trello. Whoop, 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 whoop. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Joe. We will share our screen. And good morning, good afternoon, and good night. We are coming to you today from Nassau, Bahamas, and our event is called Agile in Education with Trello. Victoria and I will be presenting on our homeschooling, and our school is called School for Creatives. So here we go. This is our disclaimer. It just says that we are not experts in the educational field, nor are we experts using Trello. We're just users. And the information presented and the views expressed are our views. Who are we? Victoria R. Smith is a 10-year-old kidpreneur, meaning that she's a young entrepreneur. She started her business, Sweet Tooth, a few months ago. Victoria enjoyed attending Temple Christian Elementary School in Nassau, Bahamas with her friends until the COVID-19 pandemic reached the shores of the Bahamas. Given the uncertainty of the pandemic, I, her mother, Andrea, decided to start homeschooling. Victoria successfully completed the 4th grade with honors and is now in the 5th grade. So this school year, I decided, being a certified Scrum Master and an Agile practitioner, I decided to elevate her curriculum a little bit by incorporating not only entrepreneurship classes, but also using a Trello board and implementing a few aspects from Scrum. Agile in the classroom. How are we using Agile and Scrum in our classroom? First of all, we have a working agreement. So Victoria and I, at the beginning of the school year, we sat down and we drafted a working agreement, and all it does is it says that this is what we agreed to do as a team. So we're a team of 2, and we have our agreement that says this is the terms that we are going to uphold in our classroom. We also have a lessons learned as our artifact. And what we do is every time we come across something that is like a light bulb going off, we take a pause and we make note in our lessons learned document to say that this is something that either was an opportunity or this is something that we realize is a risk. And so we analyze this on a daily basis, every school day. We also have our homeschooling planning calendar. Our homeschooling planning calendar, all it says is that we have 170 lessons that we are expected to complete in a school year following the ABECA curriculum. And we can modify the homeschooling calendar based on our flexibility. So we agree that we will have our regular class at Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, but sometimes we know that stuff happens and we have to shift our schooling schedule. So the homeschooling planning calendar is not set in stone, it's just our guideline. We follow Scrum events. So we follow a 4-week sprint. We do sprint planning. Like I said, we follow the ABECA curriculum. So our sprint planning is not where we have to come up with the assignments. The assignments is in the ABECA curriculum that we follow. We also follow a daily Scrum. meaning that every morning we start our day with daily devotions. So that's our daily scrum. We call it our daily devotions, and it has a time box, just like a daily scrum, of 15 minutes. We also do sprint review, and we have sprint retrospective. Now, coming to demonstrate our Trello board is Victoria. She's going to walk you through our Trello board and what it is that we do on a regular basis. Give me 1 second to bring it up. So can you see our Trello board? Okay, so starting from the left side, Victoria, you want to speak now? Speak clearly.
So I start with the Bible verses, which is right here. We sometimes do activities, which is also in Kahoot. Love playing Kahoot for fun. I already finished the science enrichment project, but that was also a fun activity that we sometimes do at the beginning of the lesson.
You want to show them your science project? Bring it up. Let them know what app you use to do it in. Canva. So, and for her part of her computer studies, she's learning how to use Canva. Open up your science project. Scroll down. No, that's just the cover. More to that one. Science project, you attached it. So this is our science project. Victoria, you can go through it. Speak louder.
I have the label, which is on humpback whales. I have the predators, the killer whales, false killer whales, and large sharks. I have some pictures over here too of what they look like. I have their food source. There's krill, copal crustaceans, and small fish. Their size is 30,000 kilograms. And their habitat, the ocean. Amazing. Now we shall head back.
Okay, so what the board does is it show us the different swim lanes that we have in Trello. So every day we put up, like, to be honest, Friday is a hectic day for us, given that we participated in the festival. So Friday lessons are not completed. We're going to complete those over the weekend. So Friday is still here, and as you can see, we have a reading vocabulary quiz that's overdue. So whenever it's something that needs to be graded, we have labels in our Trello board that says for grade, and we have the different subjects by color coding. And we put dates on it. Go ahead, Victoria.
Whenever I am actually finished with something, I always put it in Yay. I cannot archive anything.
So you can move your language lesson on from Friday into Yay, because that was marked as completed. And as you can see, whenever assignment is completed and she drops it into her done column, her Yay done column, it gives a celebration with confetti. So it celebrates her every time she completes an assignment.
Great.
Yes, so that's a motivator, just to see a little bit of confetti. So we also have extra school activities. So I would put different lessons in here that I want her to learn. So this is our lesson on ASL, American Sign Language. And as you can see from this board, I do not have to be a professional at every subject that I want her to know. I would just attach PDF documents or YouTube videos to the cards, and she would have access to those aspects of the assignment. So whenever, or even whenever I feel she needs supplementary information on this topic, if I feel as though the text didn't cover it adequately enough, I would search YouTube and put a few extra videos to supplement whatever's taught that day. So these are our swim lanes for the different subjects that she covers: arithmetic, language, reading, penmanship, spelling. We have poetry, science, history and geography, social studies, computer science. She's doing Spanish as a foreign language, physical education. There's some book reports, and this is her entrepreneurship column. Then we have Bible verses, health, our retrospectives. We have a column that says field trips, and then we have our artifacts. And go ahead, Victoria.
I sometimes make the cards we use to label the tests and quizzes.
Yes, so what Victoria is talking about,
Using Canva.
if you see some of the cards, like let me go back, these cards here, what says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the Friday.
I made that.
This is one of her assignments in computer studies, to use Canva and actually create those note cards, and she had to put them into Trello. So those were part of her assignments, just a way of customizing our board. And she also made It's Quiz Time, just so we could put our quizzes underneath It's Quiz Time, and she made Test Time. So that's just a bit of her creativity using Canva. And she has a few, okay, let me explain why. We have history and geography and social studies. History and geography came as part of the ABECA curriculum, but social studies did not. And history teaches her American history, but being in the Bahamas, we teach social studies in our schools. And so what I did is I got the textbooks that she would have been using in school, and I just purchased those. And so I put together a column that says social studies. And so she learned about Woodes Rogers. She learned about the Buccaneers, the Pirates. And like I said before, I would always add a few videos or extra supplemental information whenever we on a subject that I feel the textbook didn't adequately cover, or I feel as though if she watch a video, it will spark her interest more than just reading it in a book. So it helps with her understanding. And let's talk a little bit about her entrepreneurship. Victoria started her business Sweet Tooth a few months ago. She got a start when the Bahamas Project Management Community that I founded, our first project was a kids club. And the focus of the kids club was for kids ages 8 to 12 years old, for them to start their own business. And Victoria participated in that kids club, and she started a weekly bake shop. And when we were starting school, she said to me that she wanted to continue her business. And so I incorporated her entrepreneurship skills or training into an actual class. And so every week she bakes one item per week, and she solicits her customers. And so we keep record of her sales. And so this is her log. On Friday, September 17th, she did oatmeal raisin cookies. She had 8 customers. She sold 9 dozen. So her orders was $108. She got $8 in tips. $40 was to purchase her supplies. And so she had a net profit of $76. This week in particular, she got a seed investment from one of her aunts to help support her business of $50. She paid herself 15%, which was $11.40. She paid tithes of 10%, which was $7.60. And so she had a deposit to drop into the bank of $170 for that week. $107, sorry, $107. Tithes is what you pay to the church. That's one of your, good question. Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
So there's a lesson coming up that I have to populate. Good question, Victoria. The lesson is on the importance of tithing. And so that's one of the lessons that I have scheduled under our entrepreneurship class. So she's going to learn what is tithing and the importance of tithing. Okay, and so
The importance of donating to the church.
yes, ma'am. And so we want to take a look now at our retrospective. I know you guys are curious about how we did our retrospective. It's our sprints are 4-week sprints. So after the 4th week, we did a retrospective. Victoria can walk you through that. We used idea boards. And this is our retrospective. So we talked about what we should start doing, stop doing, and continue doing. And so one of the things, and we actually voted on these. So you'll see that some of them have numbers. She put what she wanted to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing, and I put my cards. And then we read over all of the cards and we discussed what we felt were most important to us. And so as you can see, one of the cards that we were going to start doing is our daily stand-up or daily scrum, where we're going to allocate our 15 minutes. So that's how we started implementing that aspect of Scrum. We voted on that and we realized that we were missing that crucial 15 minutes just to set the mood of the day. I don't think people realize how important it is to start schooling with a great and positive attitude, because sometimes, honestly, Victoria wakes up cranky. She doesn't want to get up. She's in a foul mood and it disrupts my whole day. So if I can start her off and take 15 minutes and say, okay, you know, I want you to be in a positive mood, open up your mind, get ready for learning. And we start with 15 minutes. We do our devotions. We say a prayer, read a scripture, and sing a song. Sometimes we sing a song. Sometimes we skip singing a song. We're not the best singers, but we set the mood in that first 15 minutes. And so that's what we use our daily scrum for. Then we also discussed and stop doing. Something we wanted to stop doing was getting frustrated for assignments not being done. And I think that was more for Mommy than Victoria. And so I felt like I was just trying to bring down the whip sometimes and say, you know what, I want you to be responsible. I want you to do your assignments when they're due. And I want her to be independent. But at the same token, I have to realize she's still a kid. She's not going to do her assignments if she can do something else. And so I said, okay, I'm going to stop getting frustrated for assignments not being done. So instead of getting frustrated, what I do, if her assignments are not completed before we start the school day, I would wake her up an hour earlier to get them done. So it doesn't disrupt the school day. But if you don't want to do it when you're supposed to do it after we end our school day, then you get up an hour early and you get it done. So that killed that frustration. And then when we talk about continue doing, something that we want to continue doing, posting assignments in advance and recording the grades, that is so critical. So every day after we finish a quiz or a test, I post the assignments in her grading charts. And so after a long period, I wouldn't have to try to find what this grade was, what this quiz was. So that keeps us organized. Victoria, you want to point out something that you put on the board? Mm-hmm. Something that you wanted to either start doing, stop doing, or continue doing?
I have put.
Okay, read it out.
Using manners at all times. Stop asking what, say pardon me.
So she put she's gonna be using manners at all time and stop saying what, you know, like read something and say what, and say pardon me. If you didn't hear what was said, then you say pardon me. Now give us something for stop doing. What did you put for stop doing?
This.
Okay. No, put this. You put that one.
I did put that one too.
Okay, read it out quickly.
Being lazy by my time. Do my best off it.
Okay, so she put she's gonna stop being lazy about her assignments and give her best effort and try harder.
Also for you, for getting trial on the board.
Yes.
I feel like I would understand better if I really knew what we were talking about.
Okay, so sometimes I forget to write on the board, some things on the board. So that's just a quick view of our first retrospective. And we're gonna allow a few minutes for questions. If anyone have any questions about our board, about homeschooling techniques, what we feel works, doesn't work, feel free.
Going back to your retrospective, I'm curious as to who put the sticky down that says, stop shouting at the student.
Guilty. I mean, you know, it's like, you get frustrated at times. And, you know, the retrospective, it helps me as well as a facilitator, you know, because I'm more cognizant of my behavior and the way it affects her learning. And so, you know, that board helps us to be honest. And we just like, you know, this is where we're going to say our truth and really be honest with ourselves and how we feel homeschooling is going. And that's how we inspect and adapt and do better. So honesty and trust is all about being, you know, retrospectives and looking back and seeing what works, what doesn't work. And shouting doesn't work because it just causes her to close down. And then she's frustrated and she's upset because I'm shouting and I'm frustrated, and that doesn't help the process. So yeah, that was my God.
I have a question for Victoria, actually. First of all, I think the whole idea is brilliant, and using Trello to get organized is like out of this world fantastic. I love the fact that you had so many swim lanes so that she can focus on one thing at a time. So Victoria, my question to you is, how do you, when you go onto Trello and you see all these swim lanes, does it overwhelm you? And how do you prioritize? I'm going to do my math before I do my social studies, or right now I feel more like I want to be creative and do my other assignments or chores. How do you decide?
Well, mommy usually puts all the work that I have to do for when it's like tomorrow. So when we go over the work, she usually puts it in one swim lane instead of like all in separate swim lanes. I just have to look at one, and when I'm finished, I check it. I check the due date as well, and I put it in there, and I get a confetti, and I get happy.
Yay. Okay, so what I heard you say is you bring into today, so you bring from the backlog over to today what you're going to be working on, right? And then when you're done, you move it to the yay, which is the done portion.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. I love it. And I do like the confetti too.
Do you have any more questions?
I have lots of questions.
Keep them going.
I have a question.
Oh, go
That's
ahead.
okay.
Yes.
So I'm interested in the honesty of the retrospective, and how did you find a retrospective useful, Victoria?
It's useful to know that this is what mommy thinks about my attitude and what I should be doing more of and what I should stop doing. And I'm happy about it.
Did you find that you could ask mommy to maybe do things differently as well?
Yes, she has told me that also saying what I think and
Awesome. I'm trying to think if it would work with my son. That's all. Thank you.
Well, on your point, Joe, when we first started with the whole Trello and the retrospective, and I told Victoria, I said, I'm expecting these things of you. When we did our working agreement, I said, these are what I expect of you: to do your assignments on time, to give your best effort. Now, I know that she has some deficiencies in certain subjects, so I know I have to put more effort into it, but I said, I expect your best effort. And we have to develop at our core, trust. And she asked me, she said, Mommy, how can I get you to trust me? And I said, the best way for you to get me to trust you is when you said you're going to do your assignments, to do them, because I'm trusting you to be honest about your assignments and the effort that you put into doing it. And so I think when we had that conversation, it kind of was interesting for me to see that at her age, she's asking me about how can she develop trust, or how can she earn my trust? And I'm explaining to her, our working agreement set the guidelines. Go back to it, look at what we discussed, look what we agreed to. And whenever you break those agreements, you are losing my trust, because that means that you're not upholding your part of your agreement. Yes, ma'am.
I would also like to be left with something that is also a part of why I said this.
Okay.
I'm trying to be honest here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be left with something.
You're left with something.
I mean, give me a will.
A will.
A will.
She's trying to ask me for
Victoria,
brilliant.
Victoria, you're going to have to go through a few of us here to get to your mom.
So what's your next question, Saba?
So my next question is, I actually love the fact that the kidpreneurial thing is brilliant as well. But you also, I like the fact that you highlighted that Victoria does tithing. So the importance of giving and putting back into the community, and also paying herself. A lot of time, especially women, we sometimes sell ourselves a little bit short. So it's really important to know that when you work hard, that you deserve a little bit of that for yourself as well. Good job, Victoria. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Victoria, I have a question. Do you enjoy studying with mommy better, or do you miss going to school?
I'm forgetting. I've been in it so long.
No worries. I'm just teasing. More than anything, I want to congratulate you both. Victoria, I hope you enjoy this. It's always a learning journey. And Andrea, thank you very much for your honesty, your vulnerability, and your commitment to being an Agilist even at home.
Thank you, Omar.
So walk me through like a normal daily devotion.
Go ahead, Victoria. What do we do for our daily devotions?
We go over the Bible verses. We pray. You're not reading. But we don't really do that anymore.
We're not the best singers, so we kind of skip our sing-a-song portion of the devotions. And then we read the poem. Remember we say the poem?
Oh yeah, the village blacksmith.
Yeah, so we have a few poems in her curriculum that she has to memorize. So every day she recites the poem so that she can become familiar with it and say it from memory when it's due.
Wow, excellent. I ended up doing something completely different with my son. So I'm trying to remember, it's called Ninja Focus. It's a little app on the phone where it's for meditating and things like that for kids. So he would do that for 15 minutes to start his day, because I absolutely agree. Getting kids in the right mindset for education is vital, especially when you're working at home as well. So I was just interested to see the differences. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Yes, Abba?
One more question. So this one again for Victoria. Victoria, do you have any friends that are also being homeschooled, and do you talk to them and compare how you're homeschooling using your tools and your mom's creativity compares to their?
I don't really think I have any friends who are also in homeschooling, but I do talk to them and we do usually meet up. Like we went to the beach for my pre-birthday.
Pre-birthday.
Yes, my pre-birthday.
Pre-birthday.
I keep thinking she's supposed to have a birthday week.
Daddy
Hey.
had birthday week, so why can't I have birthday week?
That's true.
And so do you compare notes about how their parents like homeschool them versus how you're homeschooled, and like what do you think of the comparisons? Do you ever get into that?
Not really. We were just like focus on like other stuff, like I don't know, and like doing what we used to do next when we were like hanging out and stuff like that. We don't really talk about it.
Good. Let playtime be playtime. I like that. Perfect.
I think I just want to have a comment for you, Victoria, and your mom. I think this is a very brilliant idea for all of us who have kids, and looking at the situation that we're in. COVID has hit everybody left, right, and center. And I was a parent that needed to manage children, schooling children from home, apart from coordinating with the school for a whole year. So I think if I saw this video before that, I would have been better organized. But now I know better, and I think it's a brilliant idea that I'm going to carry and use, because we don't know, COVID can hit anytime. It hasn't gone away. So I think this is a very brilliant idea. Thank you for sharing. And Victoria, you're doing a great job. I love your confidence. I love what you're doing. And I think I've taken a lift. I've learned quite a lot from this lesson, and will try and implement what I can with my 2 daughters. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. And if anybody,
I agree.
I feel lonely, very lonely.
We miss being
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have my dog. He's
it's
very,
tough.
he doesn't even listen to me anymore. Can't even hear.
So I think, let me see if we go back to our presentation. Okay, do we have any more questions before we end the session? Sab is all questioned out.
Oh, no, I have plenty of questions, but I don't want to monopolize everything.
I
Good
like
job.
questions. I would like to answer questions.
You like to answer questions. Okay. Let me see. See that now you're putting me under the gun, right? So Victoria, when the lessons are being planned for the day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, does your mom do all the planning, or do you also have a say in it?
Kind of just school and then homework. Then I just do the homework when she's done. But she really like puts in the homework while I'm like we're doing school. So I kind of just do it, like after I have a break, I just do my homework. But I never really have to
Yeah,
And
more,
how do you like the idea of, if you don't get your work done, mommy has to wake you up a whole hour ahead earlier in order to get that done? Does that give you the motivation to actually stay on track and not slack off?
because I wake up at an earlier time. I kind of just stay up. I also kind of wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes. Gotta confess that.
And I noticed one of the swim lanes also was like field trips. How do you determine that? Is that like a reward system, or is that part of the schooling curriculum, or?
What do you think?
I think that it should be part of the reward system, but as it stands today, it is part of the learning process, because what I try to do is, if she's learning a topic in science, let's say about mammals or amphibians. So one of our field trips is to go to Dastra Gardens and Zoo, because part of the Scrum theory, you know, using the empiricism process, it says that knowledge comes from experience. And so, you know, it's good to have theory, but when you can put practicality and visualize stuff, you kind of digest it better and you retain that knowledge longer than if you just read a book. So I try to incorporate the field trips where it would supplement and kind of cement the theory. And the Dastra Gardens and Zoo, that's coming up as our first field trip. We haven't put it on our school calendars yet, but that's our first planned field trip, where she'll learn about the different animals that they have and related back to science class.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is proclivity? I can't say it.
Oh, I'm messing that word right up. Okay, moving right along.
What does it mean?
You didn't pronounce the word right for me to understand the meaning.
That's not with a P. Lit.
I don't remember saying any big word that you can't pronounce. Okay, so this is the time when we ask another question. So did I answer the question well? She had a subject about butterflies. And so even though it wasn't a field trip, we actually had a chance to go to South Florida and go to Butterfly World. And so the whole metamorphosis process was outlined, and she could have seen the different types of butterflies and learn about the whole metamorphosis process in real time and in person, instead of just looking through the book and trying to understand what's going on.
Very cool. And where does like that chores column fit in? That's house chores, right?
Yes, there's a card on the chores section that says daily chores. I don't know if you want me to go back to it and open it up, but it says what she has to do as her daily chores, and then what she has to do as specialized chores. So sometimes I would put a special chore that says probably clean out your drawers, or take out all of the small clothing out of your drawers and redonate those, or something of that nature. But then she has her daily chores that would say feed the dog, walk the dog, feed the fish, wash the dishes, just regular stuff. And we're trying to see if we can incorporate some of those chores in her reward system. So the reward system is a work in progress, and that was actually one of the things that we had on our retrospective board as something we wanted to incorporate. So we're just trying to figure out how we're going to incorporate it, because I want to teach Victoria that you have good rewards, which are opportunities, and then you have bad rewards, which are risk. So if you take this action, there's a reaction and there's consequences. And so that's how I want to implement that system, not just merit, but we back in school, we had merits and demerits. And so it's a give and a take. You get positive rewards for positive behavior, and you have negative consequences for negative behavior.
So Victoria, if you look back 2 years ago and how classes were held in classrooms and how the teacher conducting the learning versus today, and I know that right now you're kind of like feeling lonely and away from your friends, but from a learning perspective, do you think what your mommy is doing, because I think she's going over and above, honestly, and do you think that's like actually being more effective and more engaging for you to learn the information, assimilate it, and process it and keep it? How do you feel about that?
Well, the only thing that I really miss is like when she rates my grades, I feel happy and I get 100%. Actually, is 100%. She's missing one thing, and it is the stickers. The stickers really help. I love the stickers. It makes me feel special.
Now I know you could put that on a lessons learned card, and we could discuss it on our retrospective.
I'm definitely going to.
So would you want your mom eventually, when schools open up, would you want your mom to get together with your teacher and share some of that knowledge so others can benefit from it?
Yes. Not only will it be learning for them and then for us, I would also get to see them.
Good job, you two. I'm like so happy for both of you and so impressed. Excellent job.
I'm happy for myself too.
You should be.
Well, if we have no further questions, our session has exceeded our time box of 30 minutes, but we don't mind. But it was a time box of 30 minutes for our workshop. We do have a closing slide if I could find it. Seeing that we did take some time and put our slide deck together. Okay, there we go. So we did our Trello demonstration. We had a slide for questions, so clarification. So if you want to contact myself. That's my email address, phone number, and our school hours. So it says, please feel free to contact us or contact me through email or phone, but not during school hours. Because Victoria doesn't like when I do business calls during her school hours. So we have school from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday to Friday. Thank you for listening. This is the end of our presentation.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yay!
So thank you all.
Thank you very
for being
much.
here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Goodbye.
Great job, you two. Loved it.